Ashley, nice job so far here. Yeah, your masks look pretty good. I added a white layer because it's just really hard to see anything with on a black layer. And I do look at the masks a little bit. I'm not too, I'm not too nitpicky the first week, but I do start to look at some of the details to make sure that they're neat and clean and so on. I see you already have some brightness and contrasts here. That's good. You might want to lighten the burger up. Where is that one? Oh, you have one on here too. You know what works better than brightness and contrast are the levels, and that one's right here. So if you, because then you can, where is it? Right there. Then you can kind of really adjust, the different parts of it, not just make it brighter or less bright. So again, you can move, these sliders over. It's going to affect everything underneath it too. So anyway, it's a way to kind of get a little bit more detail happening. And again, you can just play with these sliders. And the good thing about these adjustments is that, you can just turn them off, right? I can just turn this right off, right? And I'm going to clip it just to the burger because obviously you can't see anything above it. So again, when you clip it, it just will go to the layer that's beneath it, as you realize from that last lesson we did. Another thing you might want to do is maybe repeat some very small chips on the bottom. That could look funny. I don't know. I mean, maybe not. It could be overdone. Also, somehow the chips need to stand out a little bit more. So there's some... there's the big one. Let's see. So, I mean, you can do things like add layer styles. Like you could go here and you could go up into the layer styles, and you could add like some kind of a glow. And that will also help, make it stand out from the background. And there's so many of these styles that you can make the spread bigger so it looks kind of like a, and I'm not saying to use red at all. So it kind of looks, and then you could make it really light so you can't really see it. So it's just kind of like a subtle little kind of shadowy thing. There's so many different things you can do with these, and of course I'm not saying to use this red one. You can use green, you can use blue. Well, blue looks kind of weird. Orange, you have a lot of orange already though, right? So I mean something like that green, maybe kind of a, anyway, you kind of get the idea. I'm just trying to show you some ways to make those little chip teeth stand out a little bit more. Let's see, something light maybe. There's other things too you could do. You could add a stroke to them too, and you can see that little tiny yellow stroke. I can make it bigger. It's hard to see. I mean, you can make them bigger. Woo, that's way too big. But anyway, you kind of just get the idea. I'm just trying to kind of give you some ideas of different ways to make make these stand out, and they're really easy just to turn off. So too, right? Just like everything in Photoshop. So another thing I wanted to point out is I would continue working with the composition. It's very centered, and I was saying to Denise just right before this, centering is considered arbitrary, so you might want to think of some ways to add some kind of a depth, some kind of depth. You could make one of the fries smaller so it looks like it was more in the background, because scale also, it's going to make it look like it's, further away. You can also look at different ways to rotate these to give it some personality. Again, just some other ways to create unity that's not completely symmetrically balanced. I would think of some other color, like maybe a tomato or something, like a bright red tomato would look good. I mean, a tomato for a foot or something like this. You don't have to stop with the the objects. You can continue, and I think a tomato would look kind of cool someplace. You could also try those kind of curly fries, those kind of crinkly fries. Let's see if I can. Those could actually add a little bit of variety. Oh no, spelled it wrong. Let's see. Yeah, these are all the really, yeah, now, like this kind of fry. So anyway, just some ideas. I also noticed that you didn't add your text, so you might want to add the text before you put it in the Dropbox, because it is going to be a point deduction. And again, you know, you can really work with some of these objects. They don't have to be symmetrically placed. You could have more little ones around, you know, kind of like a headdress or something. Another thing that you might want to think about is putting all these layers in a folder. So if you select them all, like this, and hit this folder button, it puts them all in a folder, so it makes it a lot easier to move around and to you know, then you can move the whole thing you know, to one side. You can move it down, you can make it littler. You know, I mean, this is this kind of horizontal orientation. You might want to make it more vertical. It you know, it doesn't matter either way, because we're going to be choosing backgrounds and so on. So the next step is to try to find a background that fits in with it. So yeah, but so far so good. I would just more variety in the composition, more variety in the color. And but actually, this looks really pretty good. You know, I would like to see this this bun curved down just a little bit. You know, I mean, design is very, very nitpicky. Let's see here if what's that? Okay, edit, transform. I'm going to just do this warp thing and see what happens. I mean, it's just a way that you can bring things down. But I don't want to bring that much down though. I just want to bring, and then you can play with these little grids. And basically it's going to kind of conform to this curve at the bottom, so it's just not so horizontal looking. Oops, that's going to bring that part up. Let's see. Anyway, you kind of get the idea what I'm doing. I'm not, you know, it's not, I need to add more points to this. So, but anyway, there's just a lot of different things that you can do. But definitely get in and add some text. I would suggest putting the text on different layers so you can really move them around a little bit more. Let's see here. Another thing you could try doing too is, where's those pickles? Dun, 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 dun. Chip, is that them right there? Yeah, you can go in too and play with the saturation. So you can say hue and saturation, and you can make them a little bit more saturated so they're kind of greener. Let's see here. And again, it's going to affect everything until I clip it. I don't know if I even really like this, but I'm going to clip it and just see. No, it doesn't really do much, does it? Oh, it made it a little lighter. I don't think I even like that. I'd probably just turn that off. You can also use the sponge tool. That actually helps saturation too. So I don't know if I have, there it is. And this is saturate, 28%. I have to be on this layer. And again, you just kind of, I set these usually really low just because it's so easy to overdo it. Let's see. Nah, didn't really do much. I'm going to Control Z it. You can saturate these chips more. You can saturate anything. Okay, so anyway, overall it looks pretty good. I would suggest a little, like I said, more variety in the composition, and maybe just a little bit more color and texture. I'm not texture, but just a little bit more variety in terms of the layout. Okay,